Now, before I tell you a single word about Claressa Shields, I need every one of you watching this to do something for me. Sit up, lock in, put the phone down, because what you are about to hear is not a clip, not a rant, not another blog reaction. This is the autopsy. This is the receipts file. This is the moment the entire internet has been waiting for, and nobody has had the guts to put it all in one place until right now. If you love the truth, leave a like right now, before I even start, because I am about to say things on this channel that the bloggers tiptoed around, that her supporters refuse to admit, and that Papoose himself is praying you never piece together. So leave a like, subscribe, bring your friends, because today is the day Claressa Shields finally gets read for filth. Page by page, lie by lie, receipt by receipt, and it is time. Let me set the scene for the people in the back. Claressa Shields, undefeated boxer, Olympic gold, self-proclaimed greatest of all time, the woman who told the world she does not need anybody, the woman who told the world she is favored by God every 5 minutes, the woman who told the world that her bills are paid, her flights are free, her mortgage is handled, and her car note is somebody else's problem. That woman, the same woman who is right now, today, dating a married man named Papoose. Not separated, not divorced, married, with a wife, with kids, with history, with 20 years of receipts that Remy Ma stamped on his forehead while he was still in a federal sentence. That Papoose. And Claressa wants you to clap for it. Claressa wants you to call it black love. Claressa wants you to put her on a Mount Rushmore of couples that does not exist. And when you refuse, when you say the obvious thing, when you simply point at the calendar and ask a basic question, she logs on, she goes live, she puts on the wig, she fixes the edges, and she tells you to leave her alone. Leave us alone, leave us alone. Like she is not the one who walked into a marriage, sat down at the table, and started ordering off another woman's menu. So today, I am not leaving her alone. Today, I am pulling up a chair. Today, I am opening the file, and I am going to walk you through every single thing this woman has done in the last 6 months that proves one simple sentence. She does not get it. She does not get it at all. And the more she talks, the worse it gets. Now here is where I want to do something different, something none of these bloggers have done. I am not coming at this from the angle of the wife. I am not coming at this from the angle of the fans. I am coming at this from the angle of the grandma. Yes, the grandma. Because there is a clip floating around the internet right now of an elderly woman sitting in her own kitchen, calmly telling somebody on camera that Pap upstairs eats by himself, that she eats downstairs by herself, that they do not share meals, that they do not share rooms, that they live in the same house and live 2 entirely different lives under the same roof. And the world laughed. Memes were made, captions were written, but nobody sat with what that woman was actually saying. So I am going to sit with it for you, because that grandma, in 30 seconds of footage, accidentally told us everything we need to know about the kind of relationship Claressa is fighting for, screaming for, going broke for, and embarrassing herself for. A relationship where 2 people share an address and nothing else. That is the prize. That is the trophy. That is what she is calling black love. Eating alone downstairs while the man you love is upstairs eating alone too, and neither of you can be bothered to walk a flight of stairs to break bread. Sister, read the scripture, read the room, read the grandma. Let me start with the part that nobody wants to say out loud because it is uncomfortable. Papoose does not love her. I said what I said. Papoose does not love her. And I'm not basing that on a feeling. I'm not basing that on a vibe. I am basing it on his own mouth. Somebody pulled up to that man and asked him on camera, when did you realize Claressa was the love of your life? A grown man, a rapper who has been writing bars since flip phones, a man who supposedly built a 20-year empire on lyrical precision, was asked the easiest softball question in the history of relationship interviews. And what did he say? When I met her. When he met her. That was the answer. No story, no moment, no anniversary, no memory. No, the first time I heard her laugh. No, the day she opened up about her childhood. Nothing. When I met her. That is not love. That is a hostage video. That is a man who knows the camera is on and the check has to clear. That is a man counting down the seconds until he can leave the room. And Claressa took that answer, framed it, posted it, and called it romance. That is the level of denial we are dealing with here. That is the level of self-deception. You are watching a man read cue cards in his sleep, and you are calling it Romeo. Think about it. Think about the absurdity of that answer. Real love has a timestamp. Real love has a story. Real love has a she walked into the room and the music slowed down. Real love has a I was scared and I almost did not call her back. Real love has texture. Papoose gave the world a flat, 3-word answer. When I met her. That is the same energy as a tax form. That is the same energy as somebody confirming an Uber pickup location. That is not a love story. That is a receipt. But it gets worse, because then this same woman, hops on a live stream and tells the entire internet that she pays her own mortgage, she pays her own car note, she pays her own flights. She has not paid for a flight, and I do not even remember how long. Sister, you just paid for a flight. You just paid for a flight to New York to crash that man's Mother's Day. You just paid for a hotel so you could sit in his mama section like you belonged there. You just spent your own coin to be somewhere you were not invited. And then you came home, sat in front of a ring light, and told the world Papoose covers your bills. Make it sense. Either he pays for everything and you sat outside that brunch on his dime, which means he is funding the disrespect of his own wife, or you paid for it yourself, which means the entire $1.5 million fantasy you keep selling on live is a wig held on by edge control and prayer. Pick one. You cannot have both. And about that 1.5. Let me explain something to the people watching this who do not understand how the music business actually works. Papoose signed a contract over 20 years ago. 20 years ago. Bush was president 20 years ago. That contract had advances, recoupable expenses, studio time, video budgets, marketing budgets, travel, per diems, features, samples, clearance fees, lawyer fees, and 10,000 other line items that the label fronts and the artist pays back. Triple Beam Dreams, don't do it. None of them went triple platinum. None of them went platinum. None of them went gold. So that man is not sitting on a $1.5 million lump sum like Claressa wants you to believe. That man is probably still in the negative to the label. He is probably still recouping. He is probably still getting royalty statements that look like parking tickets. But Claressa keeps going on live, waving that 1.5 around like it is a winning lottery ticket. She is treating a 20-year-old recoupable advance like it is fresh deposit money in its checking account. And that right there is the entire Claressa experience in one sentence. She does not understand the thing she is bragging about. She just knows the number is big. And let me add something to that because it actually gets funnier. She also went on live and told everyone that Papoose was so mad about a $1,000 envelope versus a $10,000 envelope at some event. 1,000 versus 10,000. Pulled out an envelope drama like she was hosting a game show. Sister, if your man is truly a $1.5 million man, why is a $9,000 difference in an envelope even a topic of conversation? Why is he picking envelopes at all? Real wealth is silent. Real wealth does not flinch at an envelope. The fact that the envelope story even exists is the loudest broke-telling modern hip-hop. You did not flex, you leaked, and the entire internet read the receipt before you finished posting it. Now, let me read the room with you for a second, because she keeps telling us to read the room while she sets the room on fire. Papoose was asked, point blank on a podcast, will you ever live with Claressa? And he did not say maybe. He did not say we are working on it. He did not say one day. He said absolutely not. Absolutely not. 2 words. 3 syllables, game over. When a man uses the word absolutely before not, he is not leaving room for interpretation. He is closing a door, he's locking it, he's putting a chair under the handle, and he is whispering to his lawyer that the deadbolt better hold. That is not a man planning a future, that is a man planning an exit. And Claressa heard that, sat in it, marinated in it, and the next morning posted a quote that said, "It is okay to use me. Just do not misuse me to the point that I stop answering your calls." Baby, do you hear yourself? Do you hear what just came out of your own keyboard? You are publicly negotiating with a man who already told the world he will not even share an address with you. That is not a relationship. That is a lease agreement with the meter running. And then, because she cannot help herself, because the universe could not script this if it tried, she pretends the post was not about him. Y'all know it is not about my man. Leave us alone. Leave us alone. That phrase is going to be on her tombstone. Leave us alone. Sister, you have not left a comment section alone since the day you got with this man. You are the one online at 2 a.m. responding to a 14-year-old with a Naruto profile picture. You are the one screenshotting tweets and reposting them with crying emojis. You are the one going live and reading bloggers their bank balances. You are not being left out of anything. You are kicking the door down, walking into the room, screaming, and then asking why everyone is looking at you. And let me talk about this God-favored thing, because it is becoming a personality trait at this point. Every other sentence out of her mouth is, I am favored by God. Sister, open the actual book. Crack the spine. 2 Corinthians does not say a single thing about God favoring women who slide into married men's DMs asking for advice. There is no verse, no chapter, no footnote, no annotation, no scholarly commentary that supports that interpretation. Hebrew Israelites are looking at her like, who let you in? You cannot show up to a married man's wife's brunch, eat off the plate, post the receipt, and then quote scripture in the caption. That is not faith. That is a felony with a Bible app. Be serious. And let me say this respectfully. People who are actually favored do not have to announce it every 5 minutes. The favor speaks for itself. The doors open, the peace comes, the phone rings. You do not see Beyonce going live talking about how favored she is. You do not see Serena posting Bible verses every time somebody criticizes her serve. The truly favored move in silence because the favor is the volume. When you have to keep saying it, you are not telling us, you are trying to convince yourself. Now, let me get to the grandma, because this is the part nobody wants to talk about, and I am going to talk about it because somebody has to. Her own grandmother's house, the house this woman supposedly grew up in, the house full of memories, the house with the porch and the kitchen and the smell of seasoning and the wallpaper. That house was sold at a county auction for $7,000. $7,000. A used Honda Civic cost more than that house cost on the courthouse steps. And Claressa, Miss $8 million net worth, Miss Corvette in the driveway, Miss Closet full of wigs, Miss Favored by God, Miss I pay for nothing because Papoose handles it, did not pay $7,000 to save it? She went on live and tried to argue that the city was wrong, that the system was rigged, that the hardworking brothers and sisters in Michigan who scraped together their own money to buy that property at a public auction were the villains. She called them bald-headed, she called them broke, she called them haters. For $7,000. Sister, you spent more than that on the wig you are wearing right now while you were yelling at them. That is the moment. That is the exact moment the mask slipped, because anybody can talk loud on the internet. Anybody can post a Corvette. Anybody can flex a stadium fight purse. But when your own grandmother's house is on the auction block for the price of a used Peloton, and you cannot or will not save it, and then you turn around and curse out the working class people who bought it fair and square, you have told the world exactly who you are. You are not a goat. You are not favored. You are not winning. You are a person who confuses attention with admiration and confuses being loud with being right. Let me say something about that auction that is going to make some people uncomfortable. Those people in Flint, Michigan, the ones she called broke and bald, they did the most honorable thing you can do in a system like this one. They showed up, they bid, they paid. They followed the law, they put their own money on the line for a property they wanted fair and square on the courthouse steps. And the woman, whose family name was on the deed, could not be bothered to mail a check or drive home. She was too busy filming wig reveals and arguing with strangers on Instagram about who is favored. That, right there, is the inversion of the American story. That is the working class buying a house from a millionaire because the millionaire forgot her own grandmother's address, and then the millionaire had the audacity to call them broke? Be so for real. Be so deeply, painfully, eternally for real. And here's the part that should break every Flint native watching this. That community raised her. That community cheered her amateur fights when nobody else was watching. That community wore her name on homemade t-shirts before Nike ever knew she existed. That community fed her, drove her to gyms, prayed over her at church, and protected her when the cameras were not on. And the second she got Olympic gold and HBO money and a Netflix documentary, she could not be bothered to do the one thing that would have honored every prayer that built her: pays $7,000. Just 7. The math, the betrayal, and the silence of that house standing empty will follow her longer than any belt she will ever win. And speaking of GOAT, can we please retire that word from her vocabulary? You are a great boxer. A great boxer. You can be one of the greatest women in the sport without ever needing to put the 4 letters GOAT in your mouth. Ali never had to call himself the GOAT that aggressively. He just was. Sugar Ray never had to call himself the GOAT. He just was. Pacquiao does not run around the Philippines screaming GOAT into a Bluetooth speaker. He just is. The greats do not announce themselves like a wrestling entrance. They walk into the room and the room recognizes the gravity. You, sister, are doing the opposite. You are walking into the room screaming, I am, and the room is moving its drink away from you. There is a difference between being talked about and being respected. Right now, every blog you trend on is talking about you the way you talk about a fire alarm. Loud, annoying, and please make it stop. Let me give you the receipt nobody is bringing up. Where are her supporters online? Show me one blogger, one fan account, one commentator, one YouTube channel that wakes up every morning and defends Claressa Shields the way Beyoncé fans defend Beyoncé, the way Rihanna fans defend Rihanna, the way even Drake fans in 2026 still defend Drake. Where is the Claressa Hive? Where are the matching banners? Where is the fan cam edited to a Summer Walker song? Where's the TikTok trend of girls quoting her in the mirror? It does not exist. It does not exist because admiration cannot be manufactured by volume. You can be in the news every single day and still not have a single person rooting for you. That is what is happening right now. You are not a star. You are a notification. There's a difference. And then think about the people who do show up in her comment section. Pull up any of her recent lives. Pull up any of her recent posts. Who was laughing with her? Who was finishing her sentences? Who was hyping her up? It is a ghost town with a few burner accounts and 3 loyal cousins. That is not a fan base. That is a group chat. That is a couple of homegirls and an aunt with a fake page. Compare that to any actual A-lister and the difference is humiliating. Mary J. Blige can cough and 100,000 women will catch it. Megan Thee Stallion can blink and a fan cam goes viral. Claressa can win an Olympic gold medal and the internet immediately changes the subject to her wig and papoose. That is not haters. That is the market telling you what it actually values. And the market is never wrong twice. And the saddest part, the part that makes me almost feel bad if she would just sit down, is that Papoose is using her. He is using her in the most quiet, polite, calculated way a New York rapper has ever used anybody. 20 years ago, his name kept Remy's name alive while she was inside. Today, Remy's 20 years of brand building are keeping his name in headlines through the back door of this new relationship. He gets the one mic platform, he gets the podcast clips, he gets the streams, he gets the relevance. And what does Claressa get? A peck on the lips that looks like he's kissing a cobra. A man who will not move into her house, a man who will not divorce his actual wife on any visible timeline, a man who says absolutely not on camera and then drives back to Atlanta alone. She is paying the cover charge for a club he's not even in sight of. And you can see it in the body language, every single photo. Every single video. He stands next to her like a witness, not a partner. His shoulders are angled away. His hand never finds the small of her back. His eyes never linger. When she laughs, he scans the room for an exit. When she touches him, he tolerates it for the camera and then resets his posture the second the lens turns. That is not love. That is a man fulfilling a contractual appearance. And anyone who has ever been in a real relationship can read that footage in 2 seconds flat. Except her. Because she does not get it. She has never gotten it. She watches the same footage we watch and sees a love story. We see a man counting his exits. Now let me talk about the Remy post, because Claressa cannot help herself. Remy posted something general, something abstract, something that any woman over 30 could have posted on a Sunday afternoon. Something about being used. And Claressa, instead of scrolling past like a grown adult with her own life, instead of laughing it off, instead of doing literally anything else, decided to weigh in. She decided to comment. She decided to clap back at a woman who has not said her name in public a single time. Remy Ma has done a masterclass in silence. Remy Ma has not given Claressa 1 inch of oxygen. Remy Ma is too busy stacking checks, raising her daughter, and letting karma do her cardio for her. And yet Claressa keeps pulling Remy's name into rooms Remy is not even in. Why? Because the only way Claressa knows how to feel important is to stand next to somebody who already is. That is the strategy. That is the entire blueprint. Attach, provoke, trend, repeat. And let me say this about Remy, because it is going to age well. Remy does not have to say a word. She does not have to record a song. She does not have to do an interview. She does not have to drop a subliminal. She is letting Claressa be the song. She is letting Claressa be the interview. She is letting Claressa be the subliminal. Every single time Claressa goes live and rambles for 45 minutes about a man she calls hers, she is recording a free promo for Remy's eventual return. The longer Remy is quiet, the louder Claressa sounds. And the louder Claressa sounds, the more sympathy Remy banks for free. That is chess. Claressa's playing checkers with a wig stylist. Remy is playing chess with a portfolio. There is no contest. There has never been a contest. And every single time the trend dies down, she resets the cycle. She goes live, she insults a fan, she quotes scripture wrong, she flashes the Corvette, she mentions the 1.5, she tells somebody their edges are thin, she says she is favored by God, she tells everyone to leave her alone while she is the one with the camera on. Rinse, repeat. The wig changes, the edges change, the lipstick changes, the script does not. So here is where we are. Here is the full picture, laid out with no music, no filter, no slow motion, no flattering angle. A great boxer with no greater story. A woman favored by God who could not save her grandmother's house for a $7,000 gavel. A self-made millionaire who is sleeping with a man 20 years recouped to a label. A queen of black love whose king said absolutely not to a shared address, a goat who cannot find a single fan account online, a truth teller who lies about her own flight history while her boarding passes still sit in her email inbox, a woman who tells the entire internet to leave her alone every single day and then logs on the next morning to make sure they did not. That is the resume, that is the file, that is the autopsy. She doesn't get it. She doesn't get it at all. And maybe one day she will. Maybe one day a quiet morning will hit her with no camera, no ring light, no comment section, no papoose, no wig, no edges, no Corvette, no 1.5, no Bible verse, just her in a kitchen by herself, the way Pap upstairs eats by himself, and she will finally hear the silence and understand what it has been trying to tell her for years, that attention is not love, that trending is not winning, that being talked about is not being respected, that Dodd does not favor mess, that a real man does not say absolutely not to the woman he chose, that a real legacy does not get auctioned for $7,000, that a wig can cover the edges, but it cannot cover the truth. Until that morning comes, she's going to keep doing what she does. She's going to keep clowning herself in front of grandmas making videos. She's going to keep cursing out hard-working people for owning what she would not save. She's going to keep telling us to leave her alone while she puts on a fresh face and goes back live. And we, the audience she did not earn, are going to keep watching. Not because we admire her, not because we are inspired, but because, like a car wreck on the side of the highway, you can't quite look away from the smoke. So leave a like, drop a comment. Tell me what receipt I missed, because I know there is one. There is always one with her. Subscribe if this is your first time on this channel, and if you want to see the video where I break down exactly why Papoose's silence is the loudest answer in hip-hop right now, and what his lawyers are quietly preparing in the background that nobody is talking about, check out the suggested video on your end screen right now, because trust me, this story is not ending. It is just getting started. And Claressa,